In this video, guys, I want to showcase a free-to-play friendly team that can defeat the ancient battlefield in Season 4 without using any legendary heroes whatsoever. First, I just want to say a big thank you to Dragonheir for sponsoring today's video, and if you guys want to get involved, if you want to download the game, you can do so by clicking the link in the description down below, or in the pinned comment, or by scanning the QR code you see on the screen. The ancient battlefield, guys. Now, I've already released a video on the Grave of Curse. I've released a video on the Grave of Venom like a week ago or so. But I want to spotlight an amazing rare character that will be able to help you in this dungeon. And I know I mentioned it in many different previous videos, but this rare character is one of the best they've added in the game since Season 1. Ylindra. She can actually sustain herself really well. The passive brings damage reduction, the battle skill will bring healing, and the ultimate skill will put buff prohibition and will remove 2 random buffs from the enemy. So that is actually very effective. Now, for whoever is not familiar with the ancient battlefield in Season 4, guys, it is pretty different from Season 1, 2, 3, and 4 because it has more tricks up his sleeve. So, right here, he can switch between shield form and sword form to gain different skill effects, deal necrotic damage, convert the damage into a shield, or again, with the sword form, deal necrotic damage to the current enemy. Then, you have the passive, control to immunity. The very first skill will have a chance to apply a stun on the furthest enemy. Now, usually, whenever the stun was landing before, you were gonna have massive penalties on this dungeon. Now, it's changed. So, basically, if the stun does not land, guys, you're basically going to gain backfire on the boss, which will reduce the damage dealt by 20% and increase the damage taken by 20. So the boss will have this penalty if the stun does not land. Basically, if the stun is successfully inflicted, he will gain a max HP shield for 20 seconds. Otherwise, he receives necrotic damage and enters backfire for 10 seconds. So that's the moment when you want to smack this boss around. Now again, with this skill right here, switches to sword form. Basically, he will gain attack up. Deals necrotic damage to all enemies with a 100% chance to dispel all the buffs from them. Gaining 1 stack of total damage bonus permanently for each dispel buff. Switches to shield form and gains defense up. So you want to basically remove these buffs from the boss. And another thing that you really want to do is have characters that do not buff. Having a lot of characters that buff, basically you're signing your own sentence. Okay? That's exactly what's going to happen. This one right here, again, it will attempt to land a stun and is going to be pretty much the same cup of tea. You can basically keep backfire on non-stop on the boss. Then this one, again, it will get to buff, and you gotta dodge having any buffs. Now, you do need over 220 resistance. I would strongly suggest you get 300 or so. Let me quickly show you the team that we are running. So I try to use as less buffs as possible. Just to prove a point, I'm using a 3-man elemental affinity team only. So I have Frost and Necrosis, then we have Radiance and Lightning, which do not gain any bonuses whatsoever. So having a max Psychic Core or anything like that will definitely not affect this team, or a 5-man elemental affinity Psychic Core. Basically, the whole story around it is the following. We have Yola. She's going to basically have a resistance build and an accuracy build. She's not meant to deal damage. She's just here basically to put decrease attack and to get the stun from the boss. Now, I do have this artifact on, which is new in Season 4, Ring of Spirit Wood. The wearer gains 90% resistance when inflicted with control. I have a lot of questions about this. Is this going to be permanently the extra resistance that we're gaining after? Or what exactly is going to happen with this artifact? Can it only proc once? These are things that are pretty hard to find out without actually having details from the devs. But either way, we're going to try and use it. I already have plenty of resistance on. Every little helps, I guess. You know, the more resistance, the less chances to get crowd control later on. What I do like in Season 4 is that we have 2 different gear sets now that can give you accuracy and resistance. We have the Power of Tides, and we have the Holy Hunter. So I basically paired 2 sets like this to gain 120 resistance, 80 accuracy, which made my life so much easier when we are talking about the build. Now, in terms of the rest of the team, guys, we have Vorash, we have Ylindra, we have Questa as the main damage dealer. She will manipulate a bit the ultimate energy, apply decrease attack. We have Garius, Gatekeeper Staff. We have a Ancestral Protection set. You've seen Yola. These are the artifacts that I'm using. Witch's Remains, Gatekeeper Staff, and we are using the Revatrix Roots plus the Spiritual Incense Burner. So in terms of gear and stuff, I don't use any mythical pieces intentionally, just to show you that you don't actually need them to beat these dungeons with a team like this one. I am not even using food as a fact, so that's another thing to keep in mind, and that's because I have no food on the test server, okay? So let me just quickly show you how everything plays out with this team. You gotta position your character that has the resistance as far as possible from the rest to ensure that it's gonna get targeted by the boss. But where I have it right here is the furthest away from the boss, so the stun is going to go to Yola. I'm gonna use the defense aura just to ensure that I have more survivability. This team will not be a speed team versus the ancient battlefield, because this boss is pretty challenging. Let's be honest, it's the toughest dungeon in the game. Hands down, it smacks really hard. It deals a lot of damage. So there we go. We have Ylindra, block buffs. We removed all of the buffs that the boss has. And right now, we have debuffs. Now, the boss can actually remove some of the buffs from your team. For example, the continuous heal that Garius has. It can basically drop this increased attack too, but because it's from a set, is actually seen differently in the coding, so you don't have to worry about the increased attack, you know. It does have a lot of HP, this boss. You see, we are getting close to maybe get smacked a little every now and then. I forgot to show you the skill timing, but I'm gonna walk you through that as well. I think the only skill timing that I might have is on Yola, but maybe I don't even have any skill timing on this team, actually. There we go. You see, Garius is constantly losing that buff. So that's the only buff that the boss will basically be able to dispel in order to gain stacks of increased attack. As you may notice them right here, the boss has the total damage bonus plus 3%. Now, if you have a full team that buffs constantly and the boss removes the buffs from you, and he's constantly going to get that increased damage bonus, you're gonna be completely hammered. Just imagine like having 2-3 buffs on all of your characters and the boss removing them all at the same time and going up to like 20, 30, 40 percent increased damage. That's going to be absolutely insane. Like, it's gonna be dangerous. You completely want to avoid that, you know. That's why I picked a team like this. I could have brought in Ice Blast characters to deal with this boss, but guess what? They gain buffs as well, most of them, and that is a problem. I could have brought in some wild characters that don't necessarily gain buffs, and that would have been nice. Radiant's not the best thing. Burn can work pretty nice. But the main thing is, you want to have characters that remove the buffs, and on top of it, you want to make sure you have enough support for this boss. You can bring in multiple damage dealers and farm this faster, but you might reduce your chance at making this team 100% win rate, you know? And I do think that I have some skill timing on Yola, actually, if I'm not mistaken, to kind of like try and keep the decrease attack on to cover the rest, the last 2 skills, sorry. So we are almost done with this dungeon as well. Pretty straightforward. Beautiful team right here, getting the job done. Yes, with a full Psychic Core, if I make a 5-man Elemental Affinity team, I could bring in more red characters and defeat this dungeon. But the thing is, by the time you get to max your Psychic Core, what's the point of using those red characters anyway? You know, because you already have epics, you already have tons of legendaries in Season 4. So it will be completely irrelevant to make a team of 3-4 rares with a full Psychic Core in a 5-man Elemental Affinity team to show you that that can be done as well, you know, because it's honestly not going to be very helpful. So where are we? Where are we? Early on, during every season, you will want to level up your best possible teams, guys, to maximize your progression, to maximize your score on the leaderboard. 3 minutes and 2 seconds to get this done. In terms of damage, of course, we have Questa with 2.2 million damage, 44%. We have Yelindra with 14.7. We have Vorash with 24.8. And then we have Viola with barely no damage because she's not built for damage. I'm quickly going to have a look to see if I actually have a preset on this one. No, I don't actually. So there's no preset on this team either. Fully auto, very simple to run as well. This is Vorash right here. These are the stats that we have on a serial set. Will give us increased attack to boost the damage a bit more on the rest of the characters. Witch's Remains is on him. Yelindra, she is built for a bit of damage, but nothing too crazy. Not very high attack, not very high crit damage. She does have the Spiritual Incense Burner. Then we have Questa right here. She is, of course, built for damage, as much damage as possible, while I kept a decent amount of accuracy too, to ensure that we can put attack penalty. Every now and then pinch down the ultimate energy a little bit. Garius, I think I already showed you Garius before. Ancestral Protection. And then we have Viola right here on a double sets. Basically, resistance, accuracy, and that's about it. Pretty straightforward team for the Ancient Battlefield, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps a lot. Thanks again to all of you for watching the video. Thanks again to Dragonheir for sponsoring the video. And if you want to get involved, you can download the game by using the link in the description down below, or in the pinned comment, or by scanning the QR code you see on the screen. But till next time, guys, stay safe. Peace.